Welcome back to Meet the Ministers. My guest on the program this evening is the member for Yoorong-Pilly, Simon Finn. Simon, it's the anniversary of the floods of January of 2011 here in Brisbane. You being the member for Yoorong-Pilly, you were actually on holidays in this week a year ago.
Yep.
How did the news first impact on you?
I was on holidays in New Zealand and I got news through of the pending floods in Brisbane. I'd seen a little bit of footage of the Grantham incident and realised that I needed to be back home in the community that I represent. The electorate of Yoorong-Pilly includes the riverside suburbs of Fairfield, Yeronga, some of Yoorong-Pilly, and the creek-aligned, creek-based suburbs of Rocklea, and so significant areas of significant flood threat on the floodplain. I managed to get myself home with the help of some good-natured people at Qantas who assisted in changing my flights for me. But the thing I really remember about that day is I arrived back in Brisbane. It was about 7 a.m. and 7 or 8 in the morning. The floodwaters hadn't peaked. I knew from reports that the flood was going to occur, and yet the sun was shining. But there was a very eerie kind of feeling about it. Not too many people moving around, and those that were moving around sort of seemed to have a purpose. So I'll never forget that feeling. But I then went on back to my community where an impromptu evacuation centre had started up, and got to work helping out with people. At this stage, the floodwaters hadn't peaked, so people were arriving through the day with their belongings in rubbish bags and their pet, and knowing that their house was about to go under. Because
there still was that belief in a proportion of the community that they would be all right, that it wasn't going to flood, and it was a very surreal, eerie time on so many levels.
There were people who had a different view about it than others. It depends a lot on your resourcefulness and your
past experiences,
and past
the advice
experiences and those things. So we had people who, many days prior to the flood, shifted all of their belongings out, preparing for it to come, and others who got out quite late because they didn't think it would get to them. So everyone has a different view about it. But we did have a bit of notice, and I will never forget through that event about a few days after the flood had peaked, when it became very clear to me from police advice that everyone in my community was accounted for, and I remember feeling a real sense of relief at that, because there are people in those riverside communities that that do struggle, and and people that we hadn't been able to find because they'd gone and stayed at friends' place. But I remember that as being a significant point too.
A year down the track, is the recovery complete?
Not complete, but a long way on in my community. Many people have shifted back into their homes and rebuilt them. There are some people that are struggling with the rebuild, and there are others that have coped less well psychologically too. So there are ongoing needs in the community. We've had a great flood recovery centre in Yeronga that's been helping people out all year, and there are some ongoing needs. But we as a community, became stronger out of that event, and lots of people now tell me that they know the names of everyone in their street. We're all looking out for each other out there, so that's a good thing.
And that ongoing relationship will always exist, won't it?
That's
those
right.
types of things that create lasting friendships.
Yeah, that's right, and bring community back with a vengeance.
Very much so. Yeah. It's going to get very busy for you as a standing member. The election is not too far away. You're managing to find time for yourself as the election campaign ramps up. I mean, the AFL season's not too far away from starting. I dare say you're going to be trying to get down the coast to see the Suns play and maybe catch a couple of Footscray games if the opportunity arises.
Well, every time the Premier says there's going to be an election in the first half of this year, I think, well, April 1st is the first Bulldogs game, so, hopefully I'll be able to get to that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, it's a busy time. Politics is a busy life, and it's
Absolutely.
an exacting life.
Yeah.
And election times are busy times, and all of us need to find a work-life balance as much as we can. As a minister, you have a 24/7 responsibility, and that's what people would expect. Yeah. The great honour it is to serve in these roles. What comes with it is a responsibility to make decisions, and decisions don't abide by the clock. That can happen at any time of a day or a night. But you do need to try to find some balance. So I am looking forward to the start of the AFL season. I wouldn't mind getting out on my bike a bit more and doing some exercise, which I find hard to find time to do. But even just some relaxation on a beach and a good book wouldn't be bad every now and then. But it's important that elections are important things when a community decides the leadership that they want, and we need to make sure that's a robust process so that people get an opportunity to make the right decision.
Election aside, let's put that aside and saying your term is continuing. Do you have a timeline for your time in politics? Do you have your eye on a future career outside politics? Do you have somewhere where you'd like to be in 15, 20 years' time?
Yeah, I think that the nature of politics has changed a bit, so that and society has nowadays. It's not unusual for people to have 3 careers, and I think that you never want to stay on too long in politics. I think you've got to be able to represent your community, get the best for them, and move on at the right time. For me, that right time sometime in the future, and I don't have a date marked, but I hope, and I genuinely hope that I recognise when my time is up and I have an opportunity to go of my own accord in the best interests of the community I represent. But I've still got plenty of good years to go, and lots of things that I'd like to be involved in.
Mid-40s, I think most people would regard you as the prime of your life as far as a political career goes.
Yeah, perhaps that's right. One of the great things, though, about our system of government is that it throws up a range of different people. We have younger people and older people there. But in my mid-40s, I was elected to the ministry, only 12 months ago, or not quite yet 12 months ago, and that was a fantastic opportunity. And I see the rest of my 40s elections going the right way. Serving in that capacity, and then I'll at some stage look for future opportunities.
Certainly one of those occupations in which the search for new talent is always on as well.
Yeah, you have to keep renewing. Our community changes, so our representatives need to change. And so you do have to keep renewing in your parliament, in your cabinets, and if you look back over the last few terms of elections, you've seen a regular renewal of your members of parliament from a Labor Party point of view. We've regularly tried to do that and see that, and the community expects that too.
Very much so.
Yeah.
We're pretty much out of time, Simon. Thank you very much for your time. Elections coming up. Good luck.
Thank you. It's been a delight to be with you tonight.
Thank you. My name is Shaun Bindley, and my guest on the program this evening, the member for Yorong Pilly, Simon Finn. This is Meet the Ministers. I look forward to joining you again next week.